Hi, I'm Duncan, and I'd like to welcome you to my latest YouTube channel feature. I've recently done a feature about Space 1999 with an emphasis on the massive differences between Series 1 and Series 2. Um, it then occurred to me that there's another science fiction series that was in production a lot of the time concurrently with Space 1999, although a different company. It was the BBC, and that was Survivors, which was a fabulously exciting science fiction series, which was created by Terry Nation, who needs no introduction at all if you know anything about British science fiction. Creator of the Daleks and a very, very popular writer on Doctor Who and several other great television series. Um, it's first started broadcasting in the spring of 1975, and basically it is about a virus that escapes from a laboratory from somewhere and wipes out 99% of the world's population. And today we've had loads and loads of uh, science fiction shows dealing with all sorts of crisis, but 1975, this was still fairly scary stuff. I mean, it is today, but we hadn't had much done about this kind of topic, and the series was very, very scary indeed. Uh, it basically centers around three people. Greg Preston, played by Ian McCulloch. Um, Apologies if I've pronounced your name wrong. um, Jenny Richards, who was played by Lucy Fleming, and Abby Grant, who was played by Caroline Seymour. And they basically, the three of them, they make friends and basically go around the country part of the time looking for Abby's son, Peter, who left the school where he boarded with some other boys and a teacher before things got really, really bad. Um, the series has loads and loads of other characters coming along, and it dealt with some very, very scary issues. Um, in fact, it was so scary that boys in my class at school, we found it difficult to concentrate on the lessons the day after the episode had been broadcast. And I thought to myself, if our headmaster gets the wind up about this, Mr. Irving, he'll send letters round to parents saying, so, children aren't allowed, boys aren't allowed to watch Survivors, which I thought was great. This fortunately never cottoned on to. The series was had a wonderful theme score by Dudley Simpson, who has also wrote fantastic music for the Tomorrow People, and did a very, very good interpretation of the Doctor Who theme, and also wrote music for the Brothers, which was not a science fiction show, but he wrote a very, very haunting theme for that as well. Please, can some of his work be put on an album or some released as an album? Because he also wrote the music for Blake Seven, and very talented man, really. And another Barry Gray, who of course wrote all the Jerry Anderson stuff during the golden age. Well, the series basically, I don't want to give too much away because it's a fantastic series. I think it's still available on DVD, but they are able to settle down in a place where they meet, where new characters are brought in. One character called Paul, who is a farmer who's he sort of scoffs a bit at the way, because they are struggling really badly, and he becomes a very greatly loved character. And it's produced by Terence Dudley, I believe, and his son, Stephen Dudley, played John in the series, a little boy who was very, very good. And there was also Tanya Rhonda, who was the daughter of one of the scriptwriters, and she played little Lizzie. The children, when they're found by Greg, Jenny, and Abby, they're all wearing adult clothing, and they're just coming out of a sweet shop, I think, with their dog Ben, and there's some wonderful performances. As I say, I don't want to give out too much away, but basically the series was designed just for 13 episodes, and it ended on quite an upbeat ending, with a lot of hope to it. But then the BBC didn't expect this, but they got a barrage of letters saying, please, can we have a second series? And my friend Stephanie showed me in his copy of the Radio Times, and they had an article on it saying, keep surviving survivors. And a family said they watched it all together. Another lady said she watched it even though she should have been swatting for exams, because it was so exciting. And Terence Dudley wrote a very nice letter saying that he thanked everybody for their kind words about the series, but he couldn't promise another series, and it was left at that. Until sort of spring 1976, when I was watching TV and they had a little thing came up just saying a time clock or a clapperboard saying survivors, and which shouldn't have actually got onto TV, but it was a mistake. But then suddenly you heard the survivors theme, and suddenly you saw clips from a new series. Wow. And very exciting. And they didn't give too much away, but they gave enough away to be excited about. Now, what had happened was, when they were trying to get a new series off the ground, they had a problem because some actors already signed up for other programs, and some I think just felt they were happy to have done just one series. So for totally different reasons that happened with Space 1999, totally different reasons, a large number of the cast couldn't come back. The series didn't do. So they had a disaster happening that would wipe out several of the characters, if not immediately, within a couple of episodes. And they would have to, the survivors would have to change their location, and new characters would have to be brought in. And the BBC did this very, very successfully. And there were some great characters. What they'd done, there was one character from the first series who was just in one episode, and that's Dennis Lill. He played Charles in one episode called Corn Dolly, and he was very rather sinister. But he came back in the new series to be a regular member of the cast, and this time they toned him down a little bit. He was less sinister and more a benevolent uncle. They had several cases where young people joined them, some to stay, some to get restless and go. But the series still kept that very powerful grip on you, in the sense that you did lose characters that you were very, very fond of. There is a wonderful episode called Parasite, which involved a a lady called in the group called Mina, and it's got Patrick Troughton in it. As basically he's a guest actor. He's only got about 10 minutes of screen time, maybe not even that, but he dominates the whole episode, and there's a very, very moving ending to that episode. So the series really was able to pull on your heartstrings, and I think fans of the first series, although they were disappointed at losing a lot of people, I think they found that new characters were very welcome, a very welcome addition. There's one where a vicar turns up, and nobody knows that he's a vicar until he suddenly appears in his dog collar. And it's a nice episode, and the series ratings were very good, as successful as the previous series, I think. So they commissioned a third season, which was, it had a number of good episodes, but I think it's the weakest of the three. I think they took the series in a direction, maybe an unwelcome direction. In the second series, Ian McCulloch had a bash at writing a script, and he wrote a very good script. I think it's called A Friend in Need. It's about a sniper, and I think he wrote a second episode that was also very good, and then wrote a couple in the third season where he had himself killed off. I shouldn't have probably, the spoiler alert, but that was a real, that was, although you don't know it for sure because it's only told by Agnes, a character who could have been lying. When the series wrapped up in 1977, I was very saddened. So I didn't expect that over 25 years later, maybe even longer than that, we'd get it back. The Big Finish doing some fantastic audio adventures with survivors. What they did was they started it right in 1975 with the plague, with a load of brand new different characters. And then as the series progressed, they brought Greg, Abby, and Jenny in, and then Greg departs when the timeline comes where he's no longer around. I thought that was a brilliant way of bringing his character in permanently if he'd wanted to, but it's his character and he can do. Ian could do whatever he wanted with the character, but had a big effect on me because. The same way that Simon Williams playing James Bellamy in Upstairs Downstairs is another character that I really admired, who left this earth in rather unpleasant circumstances. The Big Finish, some very fine stories. Again, keeping you on the edge of your seat, and of course it must be wonderful for. Some of the original cast to play these characters that they played nearly 50 years ago now. I know that they did stop doing Survivors episodes of The Big Finish for a while, but then they went back and did a couple more. So I'm not quite sure what the future, are they going to do any more? I hope they will, because it's a great series. But as I say, it'd be really good to start off with the original series. I think it's still available on DVD. Have a look on Amazon and all of that, because I don't think you'll be disappointed by the series. And as I say, I've deliberately tried not to go too far into what happens because I don't want to spoil your enjoyment of it. Survivors, as far as I'm concerned, yeah, keep on surviving. If any of you enjoyed this and would like to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'd love to have you aboard. If you liked this, please take the like button and press the bell if you want to be told when I've got a new feature brewing. Above all things, just enjoy the rest of the day, and well, probably not watching it necessarily today, but thank you very much for giving this your time. God bless.